I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. We move on in the topic of performance directions in the Grade 2 Discovering Music Theory, looking at page 42 first of all. And here we see that we have some signs. And so sometimes the composer not only tells us which note to play and how long and kind of the volume or the tempo, but he wants a little bit more description on the articulation of a note. Should it be staccato? Should it be accented? Should it be very staccato? Should it be slightly staccato? Quite particular little descriptions on how to play each note. And again, do remember that these are in addition to the signs that you learned in grade 1. So I do suggest that you go back and have a little bit of revision on your grade 1 terms, and then do take some time to learn the grade 2 signs as well. And let's just have a little look at these. So in grade 1 we saw the accent, this little kind of sideways arrow, and now it's kind of tipped upside down and slightly italicized, but you can see the similarity, and that's a stronger accent. Now this here looks like it's kind of an impossible request because it looks like we've got a legato, which is smooth, and staccato, which seems impossible, but really what that is just saying just slightly separated, a sort of a semi-staccato. So, you know, kind of, it does make sense when you think about it. And then here we have this little sort of wedge sign, which means very staccato, super staccato. Interestingly, this sign, which we now see as staccatissimo, very detached, in early classical music, this was the symbol for just simply staccato. Now here we have what is sometimes referred to as a tenuto. And this little line here, it means a slight push, a slight pressure, not an accent, but just a pressure. And usually it also means detached, but you sort of slightly detached, separated, but full value. So it's quite a prescriptive little term, that one is. Slight pressure, kind of a bit of a push, full value but detached either side, separated. Here we have an 8VA sign. Now this is above, the music would be here, and it's above the music, so that's to perform an octave high. You can get it where it's upside down, and that's meaning an octave lower when it's underneath the music. When it's above the music here, we can see it's an octave higher. Now here we have this kind of big line that's placed inside a bar like this, and that's telling us, in this case, 4 bars rest. So you'd have to count 4 bars rest. And you know, I do find that I feel really sorry for certain orchestral instruments. I know in many cases, like say for example a percussionist, they could have something like 32 bars rest, and then this immense gong crash, and then rest again for X number of bars. And you know, it must be quite stressful having to count 32 bars rest, absolutely accurate, staying focused, and then playing at exactly the right beat, and then back to silence again. So I always feel for certain instrumentalists in an orchestra for that symbol there. Now here we have first time bar and second time bar. And so if you were grouping these with your grade 1, you'd perhaps group these with the repeat section here, or words like dal segno or da capo, which is all to do with repeats. And this is where you play to a piece of music and you play and you come to a first time bar, and so there'll be some music here and then there'll be a repeat sign. So you'll go all the way back to at the beginning or between the repeats. They'll have a repeat sign somewhere earlier in the music or wherever the music's taking you back. And then you play that whole section again until you get to this part again. And we miss the first time bar because this is now the second time we're playing it. And then that will take us to a second time bar. You could even have a third time bar. So it's a slightly different ending to the repeated section of music before you then carry on to the next part of the piece. So we have a first time you play this, then you go back, repeat, and then the second time you miss this first time section and jump to the second time bar and carry on in that way. So I do recommend that you just take some time and give a bit of revision to these terms, and then we're going to have a little test here. So exercise 3 gives us an opportunity to test our knowledge so far, and do use this as a little test. Don't just look up the answers, dare to get it wrong. It's okay, we're only in pencil, you can always erase it out. So I'm hoping that you've had a go at exercise 3, going from page 42 into page 43. And let's check through these answers together now. So they've shown us to pick which explanation properly defines the term. And just be careful, because sometimes they do throw in a sneaky kind of red herring where you think it's about right, but then if you've not been careful, you've been thrown off guard by slightly sneakily worded definition. So just keep your eyes peeled that the multiple choice doesn't throw you. Be sure you know what this means and then choose. Don't just guess from the options. So andante is kind of walking pace, medium speed, so you would choose that. Now here we have più mosso. We know that mosso is to do with movement, so we've got to decide, is it more or less? And the più is more movement, and so we must make sure that we're getting more movement, so just be careful. Now here, this is a sneaky one, because ritenuto is slightly different from rallentando or ritardando. Ritardando, remember, is like retarding the speed, gradually getting slower. So does rallentando. Ritenuto is slightly different. It's kind of more of the pulling on the reins, and it's less gradual. And so it's not gradually getting, well, quicker. That's, oh, you see, that's already thrown me. It wouldn't be that anyway, because it's not kind of a gradual thing, but it is getting slower. It is grouped with rallentando, ritardando. So we want that one. You see what I mean? That's really naughty. It's not gradually getting quicker. And then here, it would be kind of getting slower, but then the without would throw us. So just be careful that you choose the right one there. Now here we have this upside down little kind of arrow, which we know that is the accent, and then tip it upside down and it gets stronger. It's a strong accent. Here we have that tenuto sign, which is kind of a push. It's a bit more gentle than an accent, and it's kind of detached and full value, the tenuto mark as it's sometimes called. So slight pressure. Now allargando, this is what you're just going to have to do a little bit of revision. So we are broadening. It's kind of a slowing, broadening kind of term. Let's continue. So moving on to page 43, we've got some more. So diminuendo, it's diminishing. It's this sign here where we can see the volume. It's to do with volume, not tempo. It's closing off the volume, getting quieter. So it's nothing to do with slow. And then the molto means much. So it's gradually getting much quieter. Here we have the octave above sign. It's above the music. The music would be here, and so it's performing it an octave higher. It's not the lower one because that would be underneath the music. So just watch out there. Now, grazioso, we can easily see that's to do with graceful, and the molto is much, so very graceful. Now then, we need to think here. We're going to have to give the definition of each of these in order to properly answer this question. So let's use this to squeeze every drop of revision that we can out of this. And let's give all of these definitions, and then we can properly answer. Don't just use multiple choice and guess. Always be sure what your answers are and then just go ahead and choose the correct one. So allegro is quick or cheerful, kind of a jolly speed. Presto is fast, it's faster than allegro. Largo is slow and stately. And then andante is kind of a walking pace or medium speed. So out of all of those, which one is the slowest? And it's going to be largo. There's a very famous Dvorak largo theme, and so perhaps if you listen to that, that will place this word in context from his symphony. Now here, which one's fastest? So let's give all of these their definitions. So presto is fast, and we know that it's quicker than allegro. Moderato, of course, that's going to be moderate. Largo, we know, is slow and stately. And grave is very slow, kind of a solemn. And that makes sense if you think like kind of dead slow. Super slow, it's a little bit morbid, but it helps you to remember. And so of all of these, the fastest is going to be presto. Now then, watch out here, which one does not mean slower? So just be careful that you read the question carefully. So rallentando is kind of a gradually getting slower. Ooh, not multitasking very well there. Now meno mosso. Mosso we know is movement or motion. So less motion or movement. Ritenuto is held back. And then con moto is with movement or motion. And so which one does not mean slower? And that's going to be with movement, with motion. That's that done. And so there's nothing for it but to just give a good bit of revision here and use any means at your disposal. Group them thematically with the grade 1 pieces, terms as it were, the grade 1 information. You know, colour code it, do whatever you can, get somebody to test you. You could even play kind of a word game where you choose so many letters, and each time you get a wrong strike. So you perhaps, it used to be called hangman, it's not very PC, is it? So we know F, so we want, is there an A? Yes, there's an A. Oh, I've put that in the wrong place. Rushing there. And so you gradually guess the letters, and if you don't get it right, you sort of, I don't know, if you need too many goes, you could give them toenails and all sorts, whatever you need, a hat, just to give you as many options. And then, you know, make a bit more of it and try and give it the definition as well. Whatever it takes to help you to get to grips with all of these performance directions. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons, you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.